Welcome back to episode 14,912 of the REKRAP. We're going to talk about the Bears' stunning, scintillating, incredible win against the Raiders in, where are they now? Are they LA, Oakland? Oh, Las Vegas. That's where they are. Okay, and I have to make the sponsor happy. Last week, I mentioned that Bob Rohrman, as always, is the sponsor of the REKRAP, along with the Pat Benkowski Sports Spectacular. And I played a Bob Rohrman commercial. But then when I was editing the REKRAP, somehow the commercial got lost. If Bob were alive, he would have been very weird and very upset. And so here I'm going to make sure that the commercial does not get inadvertently cut out of the pot.
Looking for a new Honda Civic you can afford? Get Rohrmanized. Looking for the Midwest lowest price on a new Honda? Get Rohrmanized at Bob Rohrman Schaumburg Honda.
I'm Bob Rohrman, and we're closing out all new 89 Hondas with incredible year-end deals. This week only, we're giving up to $2,000 cash back on all remaining 89 Accords. $2,000 cash back. That's what Rohrmanizing is all about.
Get Rohrmanized by the king of customer satisfaction.
Bob Rohrman.
Bob Rohrman Schaumburg Honda, Gulf and Plum Grove.
I'm telling you right now, I would not want to be Rohrmanized. I just, no, please. I heard rumors about being Rohrmanized, and I don't want to, whatever it is. So anyway, so the Bears beat the Raiders. I guess they did. Apparently they did. In one of the most frustrating football games to watch, even by Bear standards. This was a doozy. From all facets of what things you could be frustrated by. Weird offensive play calling and complete inability to block for anything. A defense that I know, I get it that they're outmanned even against the Raiders, but their inability to tackle and then all the weird penalties, getting plenty of turnovers and barely scoring any points off of them. And then Adam Archuleta doing the game on, what was it on? CBS? Oh, yeah, I don't know if you might remember, he mentioned that he played for Lovey, but I don't think he remembers that he ever played for the Bears. I think he was only remembering when he played for Lovey when Lovey was the defensive coordinator of the Rams. I'd like to forget that Adam ever played for the Bears. It was terrible by then. And as you could tell from the broadcast, he had suffered several concussions, perhaps several hundred concussions. I'm not sure. I'm not a trained medical doctor, though I do play one on the weekends. But there's something not right there. With the great Spiro Ditas doing the game too. It was bad. And this has happened before. The Pete Carroll made a terrible challenge. I just don't challenge spots. It's very rare that ever works. But especially when your game is being done by Spiro Ditas and Adam Archuleta, that means it's like the 7th team on CBS, which means they're sending like 3 cameras. And one of them is probably, the best quality is probably somebody's iPhone. And they're not going to be able to tell. And they couldn't. And so it seemed like a bad challenge anyway. I don't remember what he was challenging. He was challenging. He did the baseball thing where when you challenge on a double play, you challenge every part of the double play. He challenged that Olamide, got it right this time, whether he actually caught the ball and then whether or not it was a first down. And you couldn't tell from the camera mounted on the roof that we were watching the game from. You couldn't tell. But there was, I was very frustrated watching the game for all of those reasons. But also for Adam Archuleta constantly talking about how, Caleb was on time and he was more comfortable in the pocket last week, and this week he's not. Yeah, that's right, because they weren't blocking. And it was also really bad that CBS was so late. They acted at halftime. They acted like it was breaking news that Ozzy Trapello was in at right tackle and Theo Benedict had moved to left. When those of us actually watching the game had seen it happen in like relatively early in the second quarter, Braxton Jones disappeared. Maybe off to gamble. I don't know. Maybe it's a hangover situation and they'll find him on the roof of the hotel in a few days. I don't know, but he wasn't there. And so you had two rookies, and I know Benedict was around last year, but he was injured. Plus, he's Canadian, so I think a second year from Canada counts as your rookie year, no matter what. And then Ozzy and Mason Crosby was doing all kinds of terrible things to them. The whole line, really. And it was Devin Smith, right, who actually ate DeAndre on a play once. He like jumped over the pile and just grabbed him and completely devoured him. Yeah, it was not great. So I give the Bears a lot of credit. Oh, we had the great halftime interview with Aditi. I used to know how to say her name because she would host Good Morning Football. Kinkabala, is that right? I don't want to. I like her. She's good, but she basically said, "I think you need to change everything." To Ben, and he's like, "Yeah, oh, you think?" So that was a fun moment. I think it turned the game around. I think Aditi's pep talk, tough love to Ben Johnson, turned it all around. The Bears really pulled out all the stops. They ran the stumble bum play, which crazy Detus first seemed to realize, and then Archela's like, "Oh yeah, they did it on purpose," and then Detus completely gave up on the idea that they did. Thought Caleb was just trying to fall down. That's the problem when you run an offense the way the Bears did today. When you're trying to look like you're screwing up, very difficult for anybody to tell. They also ran a really nice play where they faked the same flea flicker that they ran last week, and they had DeAndre keep it. And he ended up with a very nice gain that got completely nullified because when he's tried to stiff arm one of the Raiders, his pinky got stuck in the face mask and he couldn't let go. So that was great. That was just kind of the day it seemed like it was going to be. They had two right away, second and third possessions. They got interceptions relatively deep in Raider territory. They came with one field goal, and then Caleb threw an interception because Mason Crosby was playing volleyball at the line, jumped up and stuffed him, and then caught the ball. There was a lot of that. A lot of balls being batted down. Sign of your and late in the game, Detus. So the Caleb drops back, and he has a little time, and then the pocket completely collapses behind him. He can feel it coming. Like the two tackles had run their guys past him, but now the Raiders were crashing in. He's like, from a clean pocket. Well, he was being hit by two guys. Enjoyed that. But yeah, it was a nice win when you play that bad and you feel like you've blown a chance to beat a bad team like the Raiders, but then you actually win. That's better than losing. It's like the old Nuke LaLoosh. I like winning. It's better than losing. And that's kind of what today was. It's going to be really hard to run this offense the way they want to run it if they can't run the ball at all. And right now they really can't. And part of it, I think, is, a makeshift offensive line today, but even when they've had the line they wanted, it hasn't been that great. And then DeAndre, I think, has done a better job this year of actually running to holes when they're there. But that's not really his thing. And Kyle Monangai, there's a reason he was a 7th round draft pick. He's not very fast. He's tough. At least he didn't run 8 yards in the wrong direction today. That was good. And I don't know they won't even let Roschon Johnson pretend that he's a running back. He just wears the big great Gazoo thing on his hat and plays special teams. And that's it. That's less than ideal. The defense was pretty rough. And I know they didn't have, not only did they not have Kyler Gordon and TJ Edwards again, but then Grady Jarrett didn't play this week. But that's the NFL, man. That's why you're supposed to have depth. And, they're getting by with what they've got, but it's rough. It's rough to watch. I don't want to watch it. They have a bye next week, so everyone needs to get magically healthy so that when they come back to play the Commanders or the Commodores, I always forget. Which one was Lionel Richie in? then maybe they'll be closer to. Maybe they could play a little defense, which would be nice because they really haven't been able to do it. But yeah, I get tired of Adam Archuleta constantly. He did the thing too, where they look at a replay and he points at a guy and he's like, "This guy was wide open," and say, "Well, you played defensive back, didn't you?" When you look at the guy after the ball's already been thrown, everyone is reacting to the pass. So yeah, that guy looks like he's open. Cole Kmet had a rough day. I mean, he made one nice catch. He almost made a second really nice catch. But I think he got called for holding twice. He completely, twice they ran plays where they weren't really asking him to block Mason Crosby. They were simply asking him to push him down. Like, just give him a shove. You don't have to be able to control him. He missed him both times. And one time Caleb got lit up and the other time Swift got lit up. I mean, he played so poorly that I don't know if I'm a Chuggo, who famously I think they still pay him, right? Don't they still have the 85 or whatever? They have a podcast for him. They're going to have to, when Hogue grades the tape on Sunday night, he's going to need to make a recommendation to them whether Kmet's play was so disgusting in this game against the Raiders that it rises to the level of a Cody Del Mundo tweet, and they need to decide whether or not to fire him based on that. I don't want to make a decision for him. I just know if he would not, Cole Kmet would not still be on the REKRAP with an effort like that. We had a great Tory Taylor punt. We had the cool punt where he punts it so far and so perfectly that it just lays on the ground before anybody can get to it, and you just get to watch it stop. It got to the 2, and then there was a penalty on the Raiders, and so half the distance, it went all the way to the 1. How long was that? He says as he looks it up on the stats, because 62 yards. Very good. Net 49.3 yards. I got to tell you, that's not good. Oh, not net, average punt, 49.3 yards. That's not good, only because that means punting with a lot of field in front of you. You want your punter to have lots of them inside the 20 and for relatively short, modest range, because that means we were kind of close, weren't quite close enough to kick. This means, we had a lot of field in front. Tori, let it eat. Kick it as far as you want. Cairo was great today. 2 50-yarders, right? One of them was 52. He was half the offense. So good for him. And then they still can't figure out kickoffs at the end, right? Like, they didn't want the Raiders to be able to return the kick. And they try he can't kick it out of the end zone, so they try the dirty kick thing. And that's not a spot where you want to kick it out of bounds, because that's going to give the ball to 35. Well, the 40, you don't want that. I still don't understand why you can't teach the big Australian how to just, like, 2 or 3 times a year, go, all right, kick as far as you can. Don't worry about it. Just kick it through the big yellow Y down there. We won't get a rouge for it, but it'll be fine. And then obviously the play of the game was Josh Blackwell's block of Daniel Carlson's field goal. Daniel's a very good kicker. You might have gotten confused with his brother Anders, who kicked for the Packers and was terrible. And he's the reason they have the sex pest now, right? The guy that allegedly assaulted the stewardesses. But anyway, he's very good. And I couldn't help it. I mean, I know the Walter Payton thing against the Packers, where Brian Robinson was pulled up by the hand of Walter to block the kick to beat the Packers. I wouldn't put it past Vag to have waited 4 weeks to reach up from the bowels of wherever she is and just give Josh a little nudge so that he could block it. She hated the Raiders. People don't know this. She hated the Raiders. She had a real love-hate relationship with Al Davis. They had dated for a while, and it didn't go well. And so she always wanted to kick. She would tell them, she'd go down to the locker room before games, and she goes, "Boys, kick his ass," and that would get them all fired up. They may have tried. I think they may have tried to reenact that, and Kevin Warren put a wig on and tried to do it before the game today, which probably explains the slow start. But anyway, the Bears are 2-2. 1-1 at home, 1-1 on the road. Caleb, modest passing total, 212 yards, but I thought that was a really good game from him. He took a beating. Officially only sacked once. Is that right? And it was the one where he ran out of bounds. He got hit a bunch. 22 of 37, 212 yards, threw a touchdown. The pick was, what are you going to do? Ball gets batted in the air and the guy catches it. Not really Caleb's fault. All we hear about is all these interceptions. Oh, he turns the ball over so much. 8 interceptions in 2 seasons now. 20, what would it be? 21 games, 8 picks. Yeah, whatever. But you look at this. DeAndre Swift, 14 carries, 38 yards. Kyle Monangai, 4 for 18. Caleb, 8 for 13. But some of that's just him running around backwards. Rome appeared to have been suspended for the first quarter, maybe for targeting last week. I don't know. But all of a sudden he showed up and 4 catches, 69 yards, and a touchdown. His return he's from Vegas, went to Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas. And got a tug in his return, as the kids say. They say it about other things too. Boy, that Ashton Jenney, obviously tough to tackle. When he broke a tackle on Noah Sewell for his first touchdown. That was like, oh, come on, Noah, you ought to be able to get him down. He later broke one on Tremaine Edmonds in a similar kind of thing. But with the one he broke on Kevin Byard when he was running up on his long touchdown run, where Byard had him, he dove from behind and wrapped him up and had his thighs, and he still got out of it and didn't fall down. It's like, yeah, I think he might be good. So glad we don't see him again. He's a tough guy. But that's not, the Raiders suck. They're awful. I'm glad the Bears beat them. I don't know how. I do. I watched it, but I don't really understand how they did it. So now they go into the bye on back-to-back wins, which is good. Week off, followed by an off week. Hope not. But yeah, other than, and that's a primetime game, right? Because I know we're going to just have to watch. Oh, Tyreek, his interception. That was a great play. Great play. And he clearly knocked the wind out of himself. That's why he was laying there dead. But there was immediate concern. Both guys from both teams are waving the Bears medical staff over. But they were still in the lobby of their hotel. They had some money left to play on the slot machines. They didn't get there right away, but they finally did. And then he was up and moving around and alive, and so that was good. October 13th, 7:15. Oh, don't make me do math. What day? Why does it not have this is a terrible schedule. Just give me the day, because it's a primetime game. It could be. It is Monday Night Football. We got Joe and Troy again. Yeah, we're going to see the Hail Mary, I guess, it was something for both teams. But yeah, Tyreek has played very well the last couple of weeks. He's a really talented player. Still a little bit of a knucklehead, but we'll see. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson got released by whoever had him last the other day. I thought, just don't bring that guy in. Everybody in the league hates that guy. Even his teammates hate him. Just don't do it. But yeah, it was good to see a win. I was sure that when they went for 2 and didn't make it, that all they really were doing when they went for 2 was telling the Raiders whether they needed a touchdown or a field goal. And they kind of did. And now this is a Peyton Manning thing. Peyton said as a quarterback, the best situation to be in late in the game would be to be down 5 points. So you and your offensive coordinator knew you needed a touchdown. And so there was none of this, well, okay, what if we get close enough and then we just, we got to run some time off and we got to do this other stuff. It was just, fuck it, we need a touchdown. It probably was to the Bears' benefit that the Raiders didn't need a touchdown. They just needed the field goal, and they kind of putzed around and once they got into field goal range, they just kind of settled for that. And then the Bears blocked the field goal because nobody plays field goal defense like the Chicago Bear. Yeah, that's all I got. Very good. So I got some important REKRAP news. We know that the game times for the Cubs postseason games, the first 2 games, and maybe the only 2 games of their postseason, 2:08 first pitches, both at beautiful and historic Wrigley Field. And there will be REKRAPs after the games. Oh, how exciting would that be? And then before that, you're going to get a playoff preview with me and Oleg and Praz. So don't say there's not a lot of content this week. You could say it, but you'd be wrong. All right. Go Bears. Go Cubs.